Hi there, my name's Prue Simmons and I'm from Dyeing Tree Studio. Today I want to take you into the wonderful world of Bengala dye. Bengala dyes are a handcrafted Japanese eco dye made by a small Japanese family over near Osaka in Japan. And I am the only Australian distributor for these gorgeous dyes. So today I wanted to take you very quickly through just how easy these dyes are to use for when you use them at home. Eco dyes are often a little bit more difficult to use. You've got to use big bubbling pots. You've got to wait for weeks on end sometimes for the dye to set into the cloth, or they're hard to source. These dyes are fantastic because they're so simple to use and yet they give instantaneous results as well. So just to give you an idea about what these dyes are all about, so they are a mud-based dye. The colours are actually from iron oxides in the earth. Bengala source these colours from the soil themselves. There's 12 colours in the Bengala palette. They source them from the earth colours themselves, or they manipulate the soil with different heat treatments to get the different colourways. So there's 12 that you can choose from. Now these dyes are the simplest ever to use. All you need to do is add them to some cool water and knead them into your fabric or your yarn. And once they're dry, they are colour fast. So super simple to use if you've got small children around, if you've got pets around, if you don't want to work with chemicals. The great thing about these dyes is that because they're all natural, non-toxic, environmentally friendly, you can tip whatever's left onto your garden. So there's no harsh chemicals that you have to worry about going down the drain or into your garden at the end. So with these dyes, what we're going to do is I'm going to very, very quickly give you a bit of a demonstration as to how to use them. And I've just got a couple of colours here to show you for today. So the dyes themselves, you can use them straight, or you can actually use a prefix solution. Now the prefix solution will actually help the dye bond more strongly to your cloth or your yarn. And you just need to wash it in the prefix solution before you dye and then rinse it out really well before you dye. So with these dyes, what we're going to do is I'll just grab a couple of things that I've got here. So you can dye any kind of material. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's cotton, silk, wool, acrylic, doesn't matter, polyester fibers, they will all dye with Bengala dyes. So super, super simple to do. I've just mixed the dye into a little bit of cool water, just in a little dish here. And then all you need to do is just then immerse your cloth into the dye. And then it's just a matter of working it in. So because you're actually working those soil particles into the fabric, into the fibers of the cloth, it does, you do need to kind of take your time a little bit to it. It's not just a dip reactive dye like other dyes can be, but it's a beautiful slower process. It's really nice. And it's just a matter of then just working that dye in. Now, because you're working the colour into the cloth, it's an exhaust-based dye, so you're not going to waste anything. You actually work it in until the colour comes out of the solution. So all of the colour is going into that cloth. And all you really should be left with is clear water that you can then put on your garden at the end. So it's just a matter then of just working the colour in, keeping it going, gently massaging it in. What I've done here is a very, very simple shibori technique where I've just bound the cloth quite loosely. And it means that the areas that the dye can't penetrate quite so readily are going to be a little bit more white, whereas the colours that interact with the dye more strongly are going to be a lot stronger in colour. So that's just that one there. I'll just leave that there for the moment. I've also got some really, really beautiful bamboo yarn, and this tends to dye really gorgeously. Just shuffle that across. So with this, we'll just pop that into the dye. It takes up the colour so well. In fact, yarn will take up the colour really beautifully. So wools, cottons, bamboo, they all take up the colour really gorgeously. The other thing too is because you're using cool water, you don't have that danger of felting your cloth or putting it into different temperatures when you're dyeing it. So you're going to get something that is taking up colour really well, but it's really, really, really simple to dye at the same time. So I'm just going to pop that in there. Now again with these, with this yarn, I've just bound this very, very gently. So some of that dye may not penetrate into those interior fibers. So you can see we've got a little bit of white going on in there. which is great. So then as I'm using this in my project, I'll have those little splashes of white in amongst that dye color as well. So I might actually do the whole thing in this color. And so you can see it's just really gentle. I'm just really, really gently putting that into the water and letting that dye penetrate the yarn. Just very gently, giving it a bit of a rub, a bit of a knead in. So these are really, really, really simple dyes to use. As you can see, I'm not using gloves. You don't have to use gloves if you don't want to. There's little chance of you getting, super dyed hands. You might get a little bit of residue. If you want to use gloves, you can, but you don't have to for your own safety. So it's really great to be able to have a dye that you actually don't feel like you need to have a hazmat suit to actually start using the dyes. So what I might do is actually pop the other half in here and just give that a little bit of a go with that other color. So as you can see, really, really simple to use. Just a matter of massaging that color in to the cloth and getting it into those fibers, and that's all there is to it. Now once I've finished dyeing these pieces, all I need to do is then just gently wring them out, and I just wrap them in a towel and just squeeze them a little bit more, get all the excess out, and then all you need to do then is just air dry them in the sun. If you want to speed that process up a little bit, chuck them in the dryer or even iron them, and once they're dry, they are color fast. So you'll have this beautiful, gorgeous, earthy colors in your eco dyeing, made from the colors of the earth. So that's all there is to it for you to actually dye your pieces with this Bengala. It's just a matter of putting it in cool water, massaging it gently into the cloth or the yarn, and then wringing it out and letting it dry. And that's all there is to it for your Bengala colors. So I hope you've enjoyed this very, very quick demonstration about these beautiful handcrafted eco dyes from Japan. If you're interested in more information, just have a look on my website, and I've got lots of these beautiful dyes available in my online store.